Today I talk with the first woman to win Best New Director at the Golden Horse Awards, Fiona Roan, about her film American Girl and her thoughts for women today.
Then we ask women in Taiwan about their experiences of womanhood, and in Hashtag Taiwan, I'll tell you about Taiwan's latest superhero, Captain Underpants. This is Taiwan Insider.
The world is celebrating International Women's Day this week, and today I speak with the first woman to win the Best New Director Award at the Golden Horse Awards, the Oscars for Chinese language films. But first, let's take a look at her award-winning film American Girl, which premiered on Netflix this month.
It won't fit. Go get another one.
It's gross.
靠北啊，怎么大便的颜色啊？
反正暑假就回 LA 了，我答应 Jessie 要一起去 horse camp。讲英文了不起哦，关你屁事啊，史台克。
全家本来就是应该在一起的。
那你当初干嘛带我们去美国
Is mommy going to die?
你可不可以现在不要讨论这件事情？
因为我害怕。
我又没有要回来。妈妈可以先 go away.
You know mommy loves you, right?
It's so good.
What did you want to express through your story?
For me, it's about how a family bonds through crisis. I think every family, every relationship eventually will go through some crisis, and it either makes us stronger or it breaks us, I think. But I think it's important to have faith that we'll pull through.
Well, obviously things are going well for you. I took my family to watch it because I was pretty excited. We're kind of a bicultural family, so we can relate to a lot of the scenes. And I really appreciate your very realistic depiction of life in Taiwan and the family struggles. My son, who's a teenager, said, you know, this family really loves each other.
Oh,
but,
let's see.
Yeah, he said, but they don't know how to express it sometimes. Or maybe, you know, in the movie, they don't feel it. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. He saw behind, you know, all the arguments. Yeah, that's really lovely.
Being a female director, it's such an accomplishment. You're the first woman to win Best New Director at the Golden Horse Awards. Tell me what kind of struggles or challenges there are for female directors.
I think it's the same for, you know, women workers, because when people are they're investing in your career. They want to know that you will put your career first. But as a woman worker, you might, you know, your career often stops for, you know, having a family, having children. You know, you might want to spend 2 years with your children, and it's just that's not very attractive, I think.
For investors.
Yeah, it's not, because if I'm an investor, I want to know that you'll keep producing and we will have a long-term relationship and I can invest in your career because you'll continue to make movies. A lot of women directors that I admire have great works, but they have 1 or 2 and then they stop, you know, for 6, 8, 10 years. Before I felt like, oh, is it because they weren't given an equal chance? But sometimes when you read into their interviews, they find something more important. They see that, and you see these directors who are having a very long-term career often have to commit to not having children, or, you know, just putting film, like being married to film.
So why do you think you were able to achieve your dream of being a director? I know that I'm sure there are a lot of people who aspire to be a director, but an award-winning director like you, it's not easy.
I think it's maybe because I don't see it as a dream. I think I try to really put the work first and just try to do my best every day. The weight can be crushing to have, you know, so much writing on your decisions. One of my favorite directors, Dardenne brothers, they started out as documentary directors. And when they first ventured into narrative filmmaking, they said that, if this doesn't work out, we'll just go back to documentary. There's other things that are very important in life. And that was really inspiring for me because they went on to be one of the most decorated directors of Cannes Film Festival. Even then, when they started out, I think it's having a very healthy attitude of, if this doesn't work out, I am not a failure, and you shouldn't be afraid to fail. You should be very, very brave and very honest.
Well, Women's Day is this week, a day that we honor women. Is there anything that you'd like to tell women in Taiwan or around the world?
I think be honest to yourself about your own feelings. Don't judge yourself too much. And don't let being a woman limit too much of who you want to be, before, because there'll be enough people who tell you that it won't work. So I think you have to tell yourself that it will. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think your life is a wonderful example of what you just said. The whole interview will be up on YouTube and Facebook. Next up, Insider asked some of the women in our lives to share about the highs and lows about being a woman in Taiwan.
You get a lot of pressure from the family, especially they have the expectation stereotype about how to be the good girl, especially I came from the Chinese society. I have to challenge my parents and even my in-law or whatever.
I think that a majority of a woman's experience is challenging. Even just walking outside as a woman can be challenging. So this is a very difficult question to answer. But I would say the most challenging part of being a woman is being mostly judged by the way that you look, judged and valued by the way that you look.
Be accepted by other people is very difficult. Sometimes, especially for me, I like a lot of sport and cycling. But when I go to join the men's group, I feel quite get rejected. They will think, oh, you're weak, you can't do that. They try to slow down. So I feel quite sad about that.
And the good thing about being a woman is I can always choose the way I like to dress, and I can make myself pretty or I can make myself cool. So
I think that's the best is being mom, and you can raise up your kid and also share a lot of things with your girlfriends and motherhood. That was really good.
I think the best part about being a woman is being able to appreciate beauty and appreciate gentleness. Things that align with femininity. I think that is the best part about being a woman.
Period poverty is an issue that affects hundreds of millions of people around the world, including in Taiwan. Now, Taipei has a scheme aimed at middle schoolers to face the issue head on.
A schoolgirl keys in the barcode for a pack of menstrual pads. And it's coming at a bargain price, because starting on Monday, junior high school students across Taipei will get about $7 a month for menstrual hygiene products. More than 30,000 students are eligible for the scheme, which is operating in High Life convenience stores. One student says the system's very convenient because she can use her phone to get the discount. Taipei City Deputy Mayor Huang Shanshan says the scheme has a budget of over $2 million. She says that each online voucher is valid for 2 months, so students can buy 2 months' supply at a time rather than go every 4 weeks. The vouchers are valid for 10 hygiene products, and you can redeem them using self-service machines or through an app. Huang says Taipei is considering offering the scheme to elementary school children, but she says school health centers already offer menstrual hygiene products to students because it's often their first period and they haven't brought their own. Period poverty is a problem across the world, but for students at Taipei's junior highs, menstrual hygiene products are one expense they won't need to worry about.
On International Women's Day, the world celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. Taiwan's government says that the country ranks first in Asia when it comes to gender equality, but a recent poll suggests there's still a lot of work to be done.
You should be an engineer.
I'm a Negro woman. I'm not going to entertain the impossible.
The 2016 movie Hidden Figures depicted how women of color who were segregated by race and gender in 1961 went on to play key roles in the space race by calculating the trajectories for the Apollo 11 and Space Shuttle missions. Fast forward to Taiwan in 2022, and women are still facing prejudice at work because of their gender, age, and appearance. In a recent poll, more than 60% of respondents said their employers tolerate offensive jokes. One woman says she's heard guys crack jokes about female colleagues, but it goes both ways. Women do the same. Another says women are more louder and dominant at her company. Are women financially independent? Employment site Yes123 asked more than 1,200 women online. About 2/3 say they are financially independent, while 1/3 said they aren't. Almost 70% of respondents said they don't have enough authority to have a big influence in their companies. How bad is gender discrimination at work? Nearly 60% say it's very serious, while 42% say it's not. And what did the women surveyed say is the biggest source of pressure at work? More than 40% say they work hard but just don't get raises. About 1/3 say their bosses are difficult and don't respect them, while a similar number says the workload is too heavy. When the survey asked women if they're under a lot of pressure at home, only 30% said they aren't. Yes123 Deputy PR Manager Yang Zongbing says companies should give women the same treatment as men in terms of promotion and raises. The government's Gender Equity Committee says Taiwan ranks first in Asia for gender equality, but this latest survey shows there's still quite a ways to go for women to feel they receive equal treatment in the workplace and at home.
Next up, CCTV catches a man in his underwear sprinting down the street. Who fronts? Where fronts? And why fronts? Leslie Liao has the story in Hashtag Taiwan.
I want to talk to you about a new superhero film that's making the rounds. No, not that one. As much as I love Batman, I think it's been done enough times to the point that we know what that guy's all about. The superhero I'm talking about fights crime in their underwear. Now, I'm not talking about that guy either. I'm talking about this guy, Mr. Chen from Kaohsiung City in southern Taiwan. The story goes like this. Chen is a 19-year-old university student who lives in an apartment complex with other college students. He was brushing his teeth at home one day when he saw a man he didn't recognize rifling around, looking all suspicious. Did Chen then turn a blind eye and assume that this stranger was an acquaintance of someone in the apartment? No. He did the right thing. He went up to the guy and asked him what he was doing. The man, sensing that he had come face to face with the conduit of justice, said he was there to pack clothes and tried to get away. And that's when Chen gave chase without a second thought to his attire or lack thereof. CCTV footage showed Chen booking it after his suspect at lightning speed. I can only imagine the look of terror on the suspect's face as they turned around and realized they were being chased by Chen, who is a machine fueled by sheer justice. Taking a page from his pursuer's book, the thief started stripping himself of the goods he had stolen from the apartment building. But you see, that's where Chen had the upper hand. Because whereas the thief was trying to shed himself of wind resistance, Chen was already operating with maximum aerodynamics. Unfortunately, the wind chill must have caught up with Chen because the thief just barely got away. Chen headed back to his apartment, along the way salvaging his flatmate's belongings. Sadly, the suspect still made off with goods worth nearly $1,400 US. But does the story end there? No, because Chen's heroism is inspiring activism. Local police said in the wake of Chen's exploits, they're bringing in a task force to expose the suspect and to prevent this kind of theft from happening again. And it's not just local enforcement that Chen is inspiring, he's also prompted a litany of reactions from Taiwan's internet users. In response to the news story, Julio Chang says, "I went today to pay the rent of my student apartment. The landlady told me to be careful with my things and I didn't get why the advice until now I'm reading this." Ming Hiberius Chen says, "The extra weight of clothing would have slowed him down. He's called the Flasher." And that would be a pretty good name for Chen if he ever wanted to go mainstream. But here's my unofficial and unsolicited review for the footage of Chen chasing after the thief. Chen is not the hero we need, he's not the hero we deserve, but he's the hero we want. And now before we leave you, here's a look at some of the other news stories that are on our radar.
Taiwan is shoring up its defensive capabilities by introducing changes to the reservist training program. The new regimen is said to be the toughest ever. Reservists will undergo 14 days of training twice in 8 years instead of 5 to 7 days 4 times in the same period. The new policy puts emphasis on combat training, including firing weapons and building up stamina. The new regimen will be tested on a portion of reservists for most of the year and evaluated in the final quarter. A delegation from Belize, led by Prime Minister John Briceño, arrived in Taiwan on Tuesday for a 5-day visit. Belize is one of 14 countries that maintain diplomatic relations with Taiwan. On Wednesday, Briceño was received with honors by President Tsai, who awarded him with the Order of Propitious Clouds with Special Grand Cordon. Before leaving Taiwan, Briceño is set to meet with Vice President Lai Ching-te and receive an honorary doctorate from the Kunshan University in Tainan. A temple in Zhanghua County celebrated its 25th anniversary last weekend with puppetry shows, Taiwanese opera, and feasts. A column of 66 neon-colored trucks putting on puppetry shows stretched for over 600 meters. Locals say it was the biggest event their small village has ever seen.
And we're back in the studio, and because it's International Women's Day this week, I wanted to ask my co-hosts, Natalie and Leslie, and take this opportunity to appreciate some of the women in our lives at this point. To make this question a bit harder and make it a bit more interesting, we're going to exclude mothers and partners. No mothers, no partners.
So, those are the obvious ones.
Yeah.
The easy ones.
Who is an important woman in your life that you'd like to pay tribute to? Natalie.
Okay, well, I have a friend, a very close friend named Jean, and she's been there for all the special moments of my life, the ups and downs of my life. Whenever we hang out, it's like hours and of lots of talks and fun. And whenever I'm, with her, I'm always feel inspired and encouraged. And I just appreciate your friendship so much, Jean. Thank you.
All right. And my answer, I had to think a little bit about it, but when it came to me, it felt so obvious. I'd like to pay tribute to Paula Chow at RTI. Paula used to be part of the English service, and she was the supervisor here when I was hired. And she was just very helpful. Huh? She got me the job. She took a leap of faith, knowing all of my many, characteristics.
She liked you very much. I remember that moment.
Because she trusted me.
There's a guy named Leslie.
Yeah, she trusted me a lot, and she was just like, she gave me the room to grow and gave me the room that I needed to become to be where I am today. So, Paula, this one's for you.
That's a good one.
Awesome.
I'd like to pay tribute to my friend Alice. She's been with me, one of my closest friends in Taiwan. We had lots of adventures together, lots of fun times. I can talk to her about anything that's on my mind, and I hope she feels the same way too. So I'm very pleased to have her in my life. Anyway, that's just about it from us this week. I'm Staś Butler.
I'm Natalie Tso.
And I'm Leslie Liao.
Make sure to follow us on social media. You can catch us on Facebook.
And Twitter and YouTube, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and also if you're feeling shy, send us a message. Let us know what you feel about the show. Anyway, guys, until next week, we'll see you around.